we are going to try something new today. It is a whole new view or take on chord progressions, and I think it's going to really make you think. In fact, it made me think a little, but it's a great place to begin to develop a little more grown-up sound to your playing, and it's really easy to slide this into the end of any key. Of course, because we're talking examples, we're going to talk in the key of C, and I will do a follow-up video that gives you my hands on the keys so you can really hear it and see it, but I want to explain it from the written perspective first. All right, so are you ready for this? We are going to be talking about something totally new to you. It's called modal interchange. Now, it's really a lot simpler than it seems. It means that you're borrowing chords from another key. And I even wrote it here to help us remember borrowing chords. The only catch to this is whatever key you borrow from, it has to start and end on the same chord or note that you're in your original key. So if I'm in C major and I want to borrow, I'm going to borrow from C minor. Now there's other kinds of chords that we haven't, scales that we haven't even touched yet, and different modes and things like that that we'll get into later, which is pretty advanced theory. But just know that if you're in C major, you can borrow from C minor, and you're not breaking the music rules. So a good example of that would be, instead of using F major, which would be the fourth note, C, D, E, F, that would be my 4 chord, I'm going to use F minor instead of F major. And that's part of that modal interchange. I'm borrowing a minor chord and slipping it into my major chord. So there's a progression we want to try, and I've got it written out here for you first. We start with a 1 chord, which is our typical normal progression. We always start on 1, and we've talked about the rules of theory. You're supposed to start and end on tonic or do. But you're going to see us kind of break that a little bit for this progression. After we go from our C chord, so that would be C, E, and G, we are then going to transition to a 4 minor chord. Now notice I labeled it lowercase to help me remember later that this is minor. So a minor 4 chord in the key of C, 4 is C, D, E, F. So I'm going to build an F minor chord right here, which is F, A flat, and C. All right, so let's go to our next chord in this really cool new chord progression, which is the same chord, but we add a 6th note to it. Don't let this throw you. So we are going to have F and A flat and C, just like we did before, but we're actually going to add a D to it this time. Now D is 6 above F, and that's where that 6 comes from. All right, and then here's the chord that's brand new to us. It's a chord we've probably not played in any of the music we've encountered so far. And it is a 2-7 with a flat 5. Now this is a whole new set of marking that we have not used either, where we're putting something in parentheses. We've already talked about how after my Roman numeral or my chord name, I can put a number, and that's indicating how I've altered it or changed my chord. But here we're actually even going farther, and we're saying we're not only going to add the 7, but we're going to flat the 5. Crazy, huh? So in this case, a 2 chord, C, D. So I know I'm going to start with a D. Oh, that was not very tidy. So let me draw my little line to help us keep track. Okay. And I'm going to do a D minor chord, which is D, F, A. I'm going to add a 7, which is a C. And I'm going to flat number 5, because in the D chord, D, E, F, G, A. So I'm going to flat the 5th note in that chord, or the 5th tone in that scale. So I have D, F, A flat, and C. So we're going to head over to the piano in a minute and try this and actually practice playing these chords so you can hear them. But I want you, before you start that next video, to go to the piano and see if you can play these chords that I just wrote out for you a 1, a 4 minor, a 4 minor 6, and a 2 minor 7 with a flat 5. Let's see if you can find your way through those before you start tackling this with me helping you.